If you're learning how to use Claude Code, you probably ran into one of these three situations. Well, in this video, I'll show you exactly how to solve each one of them. Hi, I'm Oliver and I'm an engineering student at Boston University. I build AI automations for businesses. So the next three things I'm about to show you are problems that I personally ran into and how I managed to solve them with Claude Code. So let's jump right into scenario one. If this sounds like you should probably listen. You use Claude Code for something, could be writing, data analysis, or code review. Every time you start, you do the same exact setup. Who you are, what your preferences are, what's the format, your tone of voice, where you want to go. Maybe it's a few sentences or maybe it's a few paragraphs. It doesn't matter. The routine is exactly what you do every single time. The problem with this is that it never gets easier. Every new chat is like a blank slate. It doesn't remember what you told it yesterday, so you have to write it over and over and over again. And if we're being honest here, that's probably the thing that you do every single time and what takes up most of your time when you're vibe coding. Now, here's the question. What if you could say one word and all this context gets fired up immediately without you doing anything at all? This is what a skill is. A skill is a custom command you build once and then you can use it infinitely. Every time you call it, Claude already has a full set of instructions, examples, and outputs that you already defined as good. No retyping, no copy pasting, just pure output. You just write slash whatever and it starts running. I'll give you a real life example of how I use skills personally. Every YouTube script I write has the same workflow. I write slash scripts, give it my video idea, I get a few clarifying questions back from Claude, I answer, and then the full structure of already pre-trained YouTube scripts gets thrown right at me. I no longer have to write 100-word prompts as to what my idea is, what the structure needs to be, what the hook needs to be. It just automatically is done for me from pre-trained data, and I do barely any of the work. Now, why is this skill better than a few 100-word prompt? Well, with a prompt, it's not always just one prompt and you get the exact same output. With a skill, it's just a markdown file, which is already extremely token efficient, but you also get the exact instructions based on previous output that was created. So my rule is, if you're running it more than once or twice a week, make it a skill. It will save you an extreme amount of time. One command, permanent, and it's done. While skills are useful, they don't fully unlock the full capability of Claude can do. This moves us to scenario two. If you're like me, you probably used Claude to analyze lots and lots of data. And if you're doing it manually, you probably have to have at least 3 tabs open. One with your spreadsheet, one with Claude, and one with place where you're putting the out. In this way, you have to manually scan and copy the data, put it into Claude, take what Claude spits out, and put it into that document or wherever you're storing that refined data. This then loops over and over and over again until you're finally finished. Here, you're acting basically as the middleman, the person who brings the raw data into Claude and then take the refined data into somewhere else. This is extremely time consuming and very unnecessary. All you have to do is tell Claude exactly where to look and it will find its way there. It will find the data it needs and it will do the exact job that you're doing manually. So what is this direct connection between Claude and Excel? Claude has this feature called an MCP, or well, it can work with something called an MCP, which is a model context protocol. While this may sound technical, let me put it simply for you. Instead of you going in and finding the data you like, putting it into Claude, Claude reaches out directly. It starts communicating with the app that you want to use with your data. Claude does everything directly. It pulls the data, it reads it, and it understands it without you having to do anything. So when you ask a question, instead of it guessing, it pulls directly from the source. Now I'll be straight with the setup for this is not as straightforward as for a skill, but it's a one-time thing, so it truly is worth setting up. Claude already has MCP servers built in that you can just connect easily. Go into the connectors tab and you can find a list of hundreds of apps that are already programmed into Claude. Some of my personal favorites are Notion, GitHub, and Google Calendar. You set this connection up once and then Claude always has access to it. So how do I know when to use an MCP? Me personally, I use an MCP server when I have to open 2 or more tabs or 2 or more apps because that just creates a lot of friction that I don't need to do in my life. I'd rather spend an hour connecting an MCP than 4 hours switching between tabs. Now, before we go into the third and final scenario, If you're finding this useful, please subscribe. I post Claude Code and Codex tutorials every week so that you can learn how to use AI efficiently in your day-to-day life, but more on that at the end. Anyways, let's jump straight into scenario 3. Back when we talked about skills, we talked about repetition. Let's say that you have a workflow that pulls the world news for you every week. You have to manually go and sit by your computer, write the script, execute the script, and then it sends you the information. But what if you did not have to even turn on your computer? This is what is called scheduling. Claude Code has a hidden command called /schedule. You set up an agent that you set when he runs. It will do this automatically in the cloud, so you don't even have to have your computer. You just give it a task. It will execute the task every single time, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you need. All you have to do is review the output on your own time. It doesn't even have to be right as the output happens. You don't need to know about cron jobs or infrastructure or any of that. You give it instructions in plain English, it executes, and then you get the output. How do you know when to use this? Well, if you're running a task regularly on the same day every single time, you should probably schedule it so that you don't have to worry about remembering to do it. So here we are. If you're repeating the same prompt structure every single time, make it a skill. If you're manually inputting data from other apps, use an MCP. And finally, if you're running the same tasks regularly, make sure to schedule them so that you don't even have to think about running them. You probably already know which one of these problems fits you the best. So set it up, get it running, stop thinking about it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you found today's tutorial useful. I make these tutorials so that I can bring AI to you and your day-to-day life. Please make sure to comment any other workflows or automations you would like to see me build so that you don't have to go through the trouble of figuring everything out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.